Now, there was a rumor around this time that there was a $1 million bounty on your head.
$1 million bounty. OTF members folding under pressure and snitching on their own. The feds pulling receipts nobody thought existed. Texts, flights, credit cards. They got it all. The streets been talking, but now the feds got receipts. This is the full breakdown. The $1 million hit. Yo, run that back and listen close, because what we finna get into right now is absolutely some of the craziest stuff to ever surface out of this rap game, and that's on God. There are certain moments in this hip-hop culture that just hit way different than anything else. Moments that fundamentally shift the entire trajectory of everything that follows after them for years to come. And what went down on the night of November 6th, 2020, outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, Georgia, that was precisely one of those defining moments that changed the whole game forever and kicked off a chain of events that would take years to fully unravel and make sense of. King Von, born Davon Daquan Bennett, got his life snatched away during a physical altercation that escalated into a deadly shootout involving multiple individuals from both camps. And in the aftermath of that tragic night, federal prosecutors are now putting it on official record that a whole $1 million bag was placed directly on Quando Rondo's dome as straight-up retaliation for what went down. But before we can really break down the full magnitude of what the feds just dropped in these January 2026 court documents, we gotta rewind the tape back to that fateful night and get the full context of everything. Now peep game and pay real close attention, because this is where stuff gets extremely serious and the stakes get raised to a whole different level. The year was 2022, and according to federal prosecutors, Lil Durk dropped a $1 million bounty on Quando Rondo as direct get back for the death of King Von. This absolutely wild allegation was first laid out in a second supplemental memorandum that prosecutors filed on January 23, 2026 in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. When this information hit the streets and became public knowledge, it sent immediate shockwaves through the whole hip-hop community and had literally everybody from the bloggers to the block talking about what this all meant. This was the most concrete financial detail yet in a case that had already been making national headlines and capturing attention from the West Coast to the East Coast and everywhere in between. But this $1 million bounty wasn't just some random number the feds threw out there to make noise or generate media attention and get clicks. Prosecutors are alleging this was part of a whole organized and carefully orchestrated operation, communicated through OTF intermediaries who told potential shooters that successful hitters would be made straight. That's street talk for getting a major bag and being taken care of financially for life. Court documents specifically name OTF member DeAndre Muwop Wilson as a key recruiter in the whole operation, the one putting the word out about the bounty through the streets and assembling a team of hitters to slide out to Southern California and handle the business proper. The whole plot reached its climax on August 19, 2022, in what prosecutors describe as a carefully premeditated hit that was planned well in advance with military-like precision. 3 shooters riding deep in a white sedan pulled up on a black Cadillac Escalade at a Beverly Grove gas station located near the Beverly Center in Los Angeles and let off over a dozen rounds at the vehicle without any hesitation. The intended target of this coordinated attack was Quando Rondo himself, but somehow, by the grace of whatever higher power you believe in, Rondo made it out of that situation without catching a single scratch on his body. His cousin, Saviaya Lulpab Robinson, wasn't blessed with that same fortune and didn't share that same luck. Lulpab caught some of those hot ones during the ambush and later succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. An innocent life was taken that night, and the intended target walked away, breathing. Lul Tim, who had been Quando's right hand and day one homie since the whole Von situation went down in Atlanta, spoke openly on the rumored bounty that had been floating around in the streets and how it made him feel knowing there was allegedly a price tag on his head.
All right. Let me get to the bottom.
No, listen.
The whole situation that happened with Quando.
How we live and how we go by our and I'm speaking for the whole Chicago. You ain't there. Shut the fuck up. You weren't there. So you made a diss and said something about Von. That's why I don't with you. You ain't did zero.
The receipts and evidence the feds have compiled and stacked up in this case are absolutely insane and more extensive than anybody could have imagined. iCloud messages recovered from Durk's devices to his co-defendants include warnings such as, "Don't book no flights under no names with me," showing an alleged awareness of the need for secrecy and keeping things off the radar. Bank statements allegedly show OTF credit cards being used for flights, rental whips, and hotel rooms for the shooters who flew in from the Chai to Los Angeles Angeles to carry out the hit. They got paper trails on absolutely everything, receipts that allegedly connect the dots between Durk's whole organization and the attempted assassination in a way that's hard to dispute. But here's where things get even more wild, and the allegations become even more damning and serious. The most heavy accusations involve what allegedly went down after the failed hit attempt didn't go as planned. Prosecutors claim that Durk rewarded the participants with anything of value under federal murder-for-hire statutes, including cash payments, custom jewelry and grills, features in OTF music videos, and shoutouts in lyrics from songs that dropped after the shooting went down. The feds are saying this counts as fulfilling the bounty promise and completing the criminal transaction, even though the intended target actually survived the attack and is still walking around breathing. And it absolutely don't stop there, because the scope of this alleged conspiracy extends way beyond just Quando Rondo being the only one targeted. Federal informants have testified under oath that Durk maintained active bounties on 6 or 7 other ops he was beefing with heavy at the time, including individuals referred to in court documents as Duke and Richo. This paints a real disturbing picture of OTF not merely functioning as a record label or music collective putting out hits on the charts, but as what prosecutors are describing as a hybrid criminal enterprise that used the music industry as a front for organized street activity and coordinated violence against rivals. On October 24, 2024, Durk got booked by U.S. Marshals in Broward County, Florida, alongside 5 OTF-affiliated members: Kayvon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston. The charges they all facing are absolutely no joke and carry serious weight that could end everything. Conspiracy to commit murder for hire, using interstate facilities for murder resulting in death, and firearm possession in a violent crime causing death. If Durk gets convicted on these charges, he looking at potential life in the federal penitentiary with no possibility of ever seeing freedom again. His whole life, his career, everything he built from the ground up could be completely over. What really made things look terrible for Durk and hurt his chances of getting bail and seeing the outside. Prosecutors alleged that he was actively trying to flee the country at the exact time of his arrest, having booked flights to Dubai, Switzerland, and Italy to escape prosecution. That alleged attempt to dip out of the country and disappear became a key reason why the judge denied bail and decided to keep him locked up pending trial. The case also got connected to a second alleged murder-for-hire plot that expanded the scope of the accusations even further. December 2024, documents linked Durk to the fatal shooting of Stefan Mack in Chicago, which prosecutors used to further argue that Durk was a serious flight risk and needed to remain in federal custody until his trial date. Durk himself had addressed his perspective on the whole beef before his arrest went down, speaking openly on his relationship with both Quando Rondo and NBA YoungBoy and where he stood.
You don't even know.
All right. Let me get to the bottom.
No, listen.
The whole situation that happened with Quando.
How we live and how we go by our and I'm speaking for the whole Chicago. You ain't there. You weren't there. So you made a diss and said something about Vaughn. That's why I don't with you. You ain't did shit. You did zero. In reality, it just happened the way it happened. Like it didn't have nothing to do with age and none of that shit. It just.
Now here's the part that really got the streets buzzing and had everybody from the hood to the suburbs absolutely shocked and talking crazy. The leaks that the title of this video references, they came from inside OTF itself, from people who were supposed to be loyal soldiers riding to the grave. Multiple cooperating witnesses, including at least one OTF member who allegedly started singing to the feds to avoid a 12-year bid in the pen, have provided detailed testimony about Durk's bounties, the shootings, and how OTF moved as an organization. In the rap game, where loyalty is absolutely everything and snitching is considered the ultimate violation of the street code, this internal cooperation represents a seismic and unprecedented shift in how things work. It's these informants, dudes who used to be in Durk's own inner circle and were supposed to ride for him until the wheels fell off, who have provided the most damaging and incriminating details about the alleged $1 million bounty that could put him away forever. Lil Tim also spoke on how he approached the whole situation mentally, knowing there were allegedly people looking to collect on him.
So it's like I'm gonna stand on my 10. I'm gonna stand my ground. So it's like you could try to do what you're trying to do, but is you gonna be able to go get your money? Like, is you gonna be able to make it back home? Is you ever gonna be able to see them $1 million? Like, you could try though, and that'd be just your dumb choice. But it's like it ain't that sweet. It ain't just like that. But I just looked at it like shit, that's their opinion. That what he say, that what he say. Oh well, like.
The blood debt. To really understand how we got to this point and why this $1 million bounty allegedly got placed, we gotta go back to that fateful night in Atlanta. We gotta understand exactly what transpired, who was involved in the situation, and why this single incident sparked years of violence, retaliation, and bloodshed that continues to this day. King Von wasn't just another up-and-coming rapper in the drill scene trying to make a name for himself. Nah, that ain't even close to the full picture. He was Lil Durk's protege, signed directly to the Only the Family collective, and he represented everything that O-Block stood for in the streets of Chicago. His music was raw, unfiltered, and deeply autobiographical in ways that most rappers couldn't even touch. Von rapped about the streets because he had really lived that life and experienced those situations firsthand. Von had an extensive history of legal troubles that started when he was just a shorty, including a 2014 murder case where he got charged with 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder after a shooting at a birthday party that left 19-year-old Malcolm Stuckey dead. He sat in Cook County Jail for over 3 years waiting for his trial before eventually getting acquitted of all charges in December 2017 because the evidence wasn't sufficient to convict him. When Durk first put Von on and introduced him to the world through OTF, the bond between them was obvious to anyone paying attention. That was his day one, his brother from the same trenches, someone he had known since they was both coming up in the struggle.
What made you want to sign King Von?
Cause he got a whole story behind him. You know what I'm saying? He from O-Block.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That should speak for itself. Nah. But know what I'm saying? He just real. You know what I'm saying? His music, just real. Just, you know what I'm saying? It's my brother, twin.
That brotherhood, that unbreakable bond between them, was about to be tested in the most devastating and painful way imaginable. On the night of November 6, 2020, both King Von's squad and Quando Rondo's crew were in Atlanta for completely different reasons. Von had been performing at events earlier that night, including turning up at Opium nightclub where he was celebrating his success. Quando Rondo was posted up at Monaco Hookah Lounge with his people, which included his right-hand man, Timothy Lil Tim Leaks, who had been riding with him for years. According to multiple sources and accounts, Von got a call putting him on that Rondo was at the lounge after the party wrapped up, and that information prompted him to slide over there and confront Rondo face to face. What happened next would change everything forever and set off a chain reaction that's still playing out to this day. Surveillance footage that was later recovered showed Von walking up on Rondo's group in the parking lot around 3:15 a.m. Von initiated the whole situation by punching Rondo while he was sitting in a vehicle, not expecting the confrontation. What started as what some folks on the scene described as a fair one or a straight up fistfight quickly got completely out of control. As the fight intensified and more people got involved, poles got drawn and the situation escalated to another level entirely. Lil Tim, from the passenger seat of Rondo's whip, let off on Von, hitting him multiple times with the shots. The whole scene erupted into absolute chaos with people running in every direction. 6 people caught shots that night in the crossfire. 3 people lost their lives in the violence, including King Von, who was pronounced dead at Grady Memorial Hospital after succumbing to his injuries. Lil Tim himself would later speak publicly on what went down that night, explaining the impossible position he found himself in.
All right, here we go. Today we have Lil Tim, who's most known for protecting his friend Quando Rondo with deadly force when Quando was attacked unprovoked by King Von in Atlanta in 2020. When we first spoke a couple years ago, Tim was still being charged for the shooting, so I waited until all the charges were dropped before reaching out for an interview.
Timothy Leaks initially got booked and charged with felony murder for Von's death, but in March 2023, those charges got dismissed after prosecutors determined the shooting constituted self-defense under Georgia's stand, your ground law. Quando Rondo was never charged at all in connection with the incident, since the evidence clearly supported his crew's claim that they were just reacting to Von's aggression and defending themselves. But in the world that King Von and Lil Durk came from, what the legal system decided didn't mean absolutely nothing. The streets operate by a completely different code entirely, one that doesn't recognize court rulings or prosecutorial discretion. According to federal prosecutors, Durk viewed Rondo as directly responsible for Von's death, regardless of who actually pulled the trigger or what the courts ultimately ruled. In Durk's eyes, allegedly, Rondo had to pay for what happened that night. The grief that consumed Durk in the aftermath of Von's death was real and visible to everyone who knew him or followed his career. Von wasn't just some artist on his label that he had a business relationship with. That was family. That was a brother from the same blocks, someone Durk had known since they was both shorties bullies running around the neighborhood, someone he had held down through years of incarceration and legal troubles, someone whose come up and success he had personally invested in and nurtured. And now, just like that, he was gone forever. NLE Choppa, who had been tight with Von and considered him a real one, spoke on what that relationship meant and how deep their bond went.
So I'm a piggyback off this, bro. At the end of the day, King Von, that was my brother, bro. Like King Von, like he was like a brother. He was the realest person I had in the industry, like as far industry wise. When he used to be on house arrest and I used to hit him, bro, I was coming to him. Like when I used to get to Atlanta, yo, I need some pipes, I need some sticks out here, whatever. I'm coming to him, to his house, I'm pulling up.
This was the environment and emotional state in which, prosecutors allege, a $1 million bounty was born and set into motion. A bounty that would lead to more bloodshed, federal indictments, and some of the most shocking revelations to ever come out of a hip-hop murder-for-hire case in history. FBG Butta, who had been on the opposite side of the beef with Von and had history with that whole situation, kept it 100 about how he felt when he first heard the news about Von's death.
So I kind of happy.
You were happy you got killed.
Can I say I was kind of happy? No, no, seriously, I was though. It was f***ed up. That, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, he did. But I was happy as hell when I found out Von was dead.
He even went further to explain just how deep the beef between them had gotten over the years.
You know what I'm saying? That's my favorite op shorty. Like, I'm out there, I'm late
King
night.
Von was your favorite op?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Late night, we high as hell, on the phone tweaking with each other. He up stupid rolls on me. I'm broke in the trenches, up in big ass poles on him.
The streets don't forget, and the streets don't forgive. That's the code that allegedly set this whole $1 million plot into motion. When you lose someone that close to you, someone you considered family, the pain don't just go away. And according to prosecutors, that pain transformed into something darker and more dangerous. Lil Tim also spoke about his relationship with Lil Pab, who would later become an unintended victim in this whole tragic situation.
What was Lil Pab like?
Pab is like a person, his mom only child, who gonna try to take care of the family, a hustler, a money getting tight, independent, don't like depending on nobody type of person. He's that type.
Were you guys pretty close?
Yeah, we was close. He was close, my boy.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, man.
It's all good, man.
The Reckoning. As the case against Lil Durk moves forward toward trial, his legal team has been going absolutely hard, challenging every single aspect of the prosecution's evidence and trying to poke holes in their entire case. In a 37-page brief filed in January 2026, Durk's lawyers vehemently denied all allegations, calling the entire case built on shady informants who are only talking to get their own sentences reduced and save themselves. They arguing that the government's case is fundamentally flawed and relies on unreliable witnesses with their own motivations. One of the biggest battlegrounds in this entire case involves the feds trying to use rap lyrics as evidence against Durk and his co-defendants. Prosecutors initially wanted to bring in 12 music videos and lyrics to demonstrate OTF's gang structure, the relationships between defendants, and what they're calling a reward system for sliding on ops. The defense has been fighting back hard against this, citing expert Eric Nielsen on racial bias and how rap music gets policed compared to other genres. They arguing that violent lyrics in hip-hop get scrutinized way harder than similar content in rock, country, or other music genres, and that using that kind of evidence perpetuates harmful stereotypes about black artists and criminalizes their creative expression. The argument has been getting some traction in the courtroom too. A May 2025 indictment revision removed some references to Durk's lyrics as evidence after the defense made compelling arguments about how prejudicial that kind of evidence is to a jury. That was a significant W for Durk's legal team, though prosecutors still arguing that certain bars and lyrics are directly relevant to proving the case and demonstrating intent. The defense has also been highlighting serious inconsistencies in key witness testimony, pointing out that at least one witness completely switched up their story, first denying they knew anything about a bounty, then later confirming it under questioning. Those kinds of inconsistencies, the defense argues, fundamentally undermine the credibility of the prosecution's whole case and should cause reasonable doubt in the minds of jurors. Durk has pleaded not guilty to all charges and maintains he's completely innocent of everything the government is accusing him of. He's been sitting in federal custody at MDC Los Angeles since getting extradited from Florida in late November 2024. Multiple bail requests have been denied by the court, including a $3 million offer in December 2024 that the judge rejected. From August 2025 to January 15, 2026, Durk was in the hole, solitary confinement, after getting caught with an unauthorized Apple Watch in his cell, which raised serious concerns about his mental health and the harsh conditions he being held in while awaiting trial. Meanwhile, the other key figure in this whole tragedy, Quando Rondo, is dealing with his own legal problems and facing time himself. In December 2024, Rondo got sentenced to 33 months in the feds after pleading guilty to conspiracy to possess and distribute marijuana. He started serving his time in January 2025, with a projected release date around April 2027. The charges came from a June 2023 indictment that also alleged he had a leadership role in the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips gang in Savannah. The civil lawsuits keep piling up too, adding more legal pressure on everyone involved. In October 2024, the estate of FBG Duck filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Durk, King Von's estate, and OTF, accusing them of negligence, misconduct, and profiting from Duck's 2020 murder through music and merchandise that glorified the beef. In February 2025, Andrea Robinson, Lil Pab's mother, filed her own wrongful death lawsuit against Durk, seeking damages for the loss of her son. The tragedy of this whole situation extends way beyond the courtroom and legal proceedings. It speaks to a cycle of violence that has claimed too many lives in the hip-hop community and shows no signs of stopping. NLE Choppa, who knew Von personally and had love for him, spoke on this cycle in a real and profound way.
I was the one really in bro ear, like, know what I'm saying? I don't want to be this person in your ear to be like, know what I'm saying? Let this chill, like, don't move on it. But bro, I'm gonna be that person to let you know, bro, like, this cycle we in as black men is a never ending cycle. Cause at the end of the day, bro, we one person, we got one conscious mind.
He continued speaking on trying to counsel Durk after the tragedy and encouraging peace.
I'm gonna tell you this, and Lil Durk is my witness, cause he my brother too. When after this happened with Vaughn and all that shit was happening, bro, I was the one really in bro ear, like, know what I'm saying?
The trial is currently scheduled for April 21st, 2026 in Los Angeles federal court, though multiple postponements have already happened because of how complex the case is and the sheer volume of evidence there is to go through. A pretrial conference is set for March 30th, 2026, where both sides will present their final arguments before the trial begins. What happens in that courtroom is going to have major implications not just for Durk's future and freedom, but for how the justice system treats hip-hop artists going forward, how it interprets their lyrics as potential evidence, and how it prosecutes allegations of organized street activity in the music industry. The case has already become a flashpoint in ongoing debates about racial bias in the criminal justice system, the criminalization of black art forms and creative expression, and the blurred lines between street life and celebrity that so many rappers navigate. Lil Durk once spoke on how he viewed the whole situation and his stance on loyalty.
Well, not everybody. He just rapped in a new song. He said Drake turned him down. That probably hurt his feelings. Clearly hurt his feelings. He rapped about it. Are you calling around to the industry saying, yo, if y'all with Young Boy, we're done? And I'm gonna ask you that, especially because there's another situation.
If you with anybody that harm my people, I can't with you. I'm not into it with you.
He also explained his position more clearly.
But it's music though, and they might feel like they don't have a pick a side.
No, it's not music. It's Vaughn. Cause that's what the whole situation about.
Yeah.
So it's not music, it's Vaughn.
At the heart of this entire case is one fundamental question that the jury will have to answer. Can prosecutors prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Lil Durk orchestrated $1 million murder-for-hire plot? The evidence is largely circumstantial and based heavily on testimony from cooperating witnesses, relying on informants whose credibility is going to get challenged hard by the defense. No direct recordings of the alleged bounty offer have been made public or presented to the court. But regardless of how the trial ultimately ends, the damage damage has already been done. King Von is gone forever. Lil Pab is gone forever. Careers have been derailed and destroyed. Families have been shattered beyond repair. And a generation of fans has watched one of the most talented voices in drill rap potentially throw it all away in pursuit of get back for a death that the legal system had already ruled self-defense. The streets is watching, the feds is watching, and so is the whole world. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.